welcome back. A question I get asked regularly, other than how do you maintain your rugged good looks, is how is your bathtub worm bin going? Well, let's talk about my bathtub worm bin. I'd say this bathtub worm bin is going great. Thank you for watching and enjoying my content. Would you please like and subscribe and give me a thumbs up below, since we can no longer dislike. This bathtub worm bin system is my favorite so far. I have had multiple different worm bins over the years. I've done, why is there a file in here? Somebody's trying to help the worms prison break. I've had many worm bin systems over the years. I actually kept worms in the bottom of a dishwasher once. I poked drainage holes in it, turned it on its back, and then kept worms in it. But red wigglers will live in just about anything. I've done the one Rubbermaid bin inside of another Rubbermaid bin thing. But this simple bathtub design that I borrowed from Jeff Lawton is my favorite so far. It's so easy. All you have to do is find an old bathtub, and it's an endless source of excellent fertilizer for the garden. We put a lot of paper shreds from the house. We take our old bills and IRS notices and court summons and all those sort of things, and we just stick them through the paper shredder after you take out the plastic envelopes. You want to recycle all this stuff. And we shred them up, and then I use them for compost and for mulch and for worm bin stuffer. I'm not really meticulous about feeding the worms on any kind of a schedule. I just make sure they have a lot of stuff. So they get kitchen scraps, and they get weeds, and they get spent plants from the garden. And even, like, here's an old feed bag threw in here. The worms are crawling around all over it. People have asked, what about the fact that the top of this, the rain comes right through it? Well, I don't mind. That gives me more fertilizer. The worms are doing just fine, and we get a huge amount of rainfall here. Like, our rainfall is as much or more, I believe it's more than Seattle. We get a lot of rain where I am, in great big torrents. Like just yesterday, the day before, we got 12 inches or so all at once, because my wheelbarrow was half full of rainwater. And yet the worms don't drown, because when we put this in, we put in drainage. And that's what I really am interested in. What's draining out of this bin, not so much what they're composting inside of it and the castings they're making. I want the easy, free, amazing fertilizer that comes out of the drain of this bathtub. If you're interested in seeing how I built this bathtub worm bin for free, you can check that out in my other video. I will put a link below. But I also wanted to run through really quickly why I put it where I put it. I put it here because it's in the shade, which means the worms aren't getting baked during the day, and also during the winter there's a little bit more protection from the coldest of nights. It's in a little bit of a sheltered location. If you were farther north or it was colder, you might want to put it up against the side of your house. South-facing wall would be good, or in an outbuilding might be even better. Because this is an old bathtub, it's made to drain. It's still got a drain in the bottom. It's even got the old pipe. And this is where the worm tea comes out, or the worm leachate. This is just whatever comes through, whatever the worms have chewed up, and the water that's full of bacteria and fungi and all that amazing worm essences. It all goes into this bucket. And we just took a bathtub, old bathtub, and we put it up on blocks, and we tilted it. And the reason it doesn't flood them out and kill them is because we put some screening over the top of the drain. There's a big screened area, so the stuff that falls on top of it, it just slowly waters out. So even when we get 12 inches like we did, or even if I dump buckets of water in here, it doesn't matter, because it drains. The worms don't drown. And then I get this amazing fertilizer for the garden. The leachate from a worm bin is fantastic stuff for the garden. It's both a fertilizer because of the minerals that are in it, and it's a biological activator. It's so loaded with good fungi and bacteria that the plants respond well. It builds the soil up, and all the bad guys probably die when you pour them on the ground anyways, if there are any bad guys. I mean, don't drink it. You probably shouldn't drink. You know what? They always tell you, they're always telling you things like, don't drink worm tea, don't walk barefoot in a cesspit. It's because they're trying to control you. So do whatever you want. Just whatever you want. It'll be cool. Just don't say I said to do it, because then there may be legal issues. Put a little disclaimer below this video. Worm tea is great for the gardens. You could dilute it if you wanted to. I don't dilute it most of the time, especially with how much rain we get, because it's just going on through. If I need to spread it over a larger space and I really want to get some watering done, sometimes I'll have a couple of buckets of clean water, non-chlorinated water, because you don't want to kill all the good stuff in this. But I'll take that and I'll dump some of it in and then just go down and splash it on all the plants that look like they need it. I water their leaves, I water their roots. I figure all that biological activity is a good stimulant, and the gardens seem to love it. So if you're worried about fertilizer shortages, if you think that maybe, you know, supply lines breaking are going to interfere with your food growing, don't worry. There are so many ways to feed your garden. This is just one of them, and we've been running through other ones on this channel. So like and subscribe and stick around for other gardening tips. And if you want to learn about a bunch of different ways to feed your garden, check out my book, Compost Everything, The Good Guide to Extreme Composting, which is a composting guide from a survival standpoint. So all the stuff that the normal books tell you, oh no, be careful. Oh no, I tell you how to go for it and how to make sure that you have a excellent food supply no matter what happens. Thanks for joining me. Catch you all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
Pumping, the road flies by. Will we make it? We have to try. Chasing twilight with too high beams. Is this real, or are you a dream? Mist and confusion, a buzz in my ear. Darker than midnight, nothing to fear. We're gonna
This is just a discarded bathtub, so it still has the drain in the bottom, and even the piece of pipe coming out of it was perfect. We put it up on blocks and we tilted it this way so the drainage goes towards the drain, and then there's some screening over the top of the drain, like a box of screening that works to keep it. Goes our light. Stretch it a little further, but when we get these huge rainfalls, that bucket will fill up very quickly, so I figure it's already been diluted somewhat for me, and I just take it down and water my garden beds with it, and it's free fertilizer, which is also I've been drinking the tea. Don't drink it. All right, ready?